welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today's pick a card reading, which is bringing you messages from three either goddesses or female spiritual entities, is inspired by a deck that I backed on Kickstarter that I recently received called the Mythic Arcana Echoes of Europe. So it is female deities or spirits that are connected with European legends and so forth. And we have one which will help with the choice of pile, and then there's two others. So we're going to have three goddesses or deity energies or spiritual energies bringing you a message. They may be different messages on very different topics, or they may be intertwined. It depends on how much connection there is between them, I guess, but we'll see as we go through. So we'll look at it, first of all, on what kind of day-to-day energy is operating with this, what's the key message and what's hidden that you need to be aware of for each of them, so from each, and then we're going to have a look at the more spiritual aspects as well. We're going to have very female-centric cards for a lot of this, but we will finish with a viewpoint from the divine masculine sort of side of things as well, just to balance it out. So that's probably about all I really need to say about that. The choices I'll go through. Of course, if you want to go to more than one reading, by all means do. You know, you might have a complete sorority of female goddesses that want to bring you messages. It's completely up to you, whatever you feel drawn to. But one of the goddess energies is depicted here, and the kind of area that she might govern and so therefore want to talk to you about. So for pile number one, we have the Valkyries. That's pretty powerful. Bravery, wisdom, fearless, compassion energy. For pile number two, we have Lofen, which is a deity around spring, dawn, love, and flourishing. And for pile three, we have Leshy, which seems to be quite mysterious. Dark heart of the woods, mystery, protection, and hidden. So you may well be able to choose by the energy of those what you think might resonate most with your life. When you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I have the timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile one, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Valkyries, which are Norse goddesses of sort of war and courage and conflict and protection and all of those sort of things. They're a bit like a psychopomp. They guide valiant warriors to the afterlife, after battle, all of that kind of thing. But they're very much a force of strength and bravery and protection. So I think the message from the Valkyries will have something to do with something that you need courage and bravery to protect and your own inner warrior spirit. We also have Greek mythology here with nymphs. This is around water spirits, talking about listening, understanding nature and found. This is an energy around connection to nature. So there's something here about probably particularly water spirits, but nature spirits in general, your emotional nature, the connection you have to the environment. So there's probably some sort of message there. They could be connected in some way. These two may very well be connected because villas, which are Slavic deities or Slavic spirits, they are very spiritual. They're very spiritually oriented, very probably sort of psychic, ephemeral sort of energies that come from the beyond, as it says, but they are very much connected again to nature and the environment, and they are very protective. So if I was to say there's a couple of key common messages here. One is around protection in general, and the other is around nature, I would say, though it is possible the Valkyries energy here may be wanting to talk to you about some other battle. But I think overall there's something, these goddesses and spirits have come to you with messages of how you can stand in your truth, how you can be brave and courageous, and how you can connect with nature both spiritually and also more environmentally, to have a good outcome for yourself and for those around you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to use the Everyday Oracle, and we're just going to get a card for each of them just to see the everyday energy around what's going on. Then we're going to use tarot to get a little bit more information about it, because this may give us a bit more of an idea about whether there's actual connections or whether they're talking about three different things. So we'll start with the Valkyries and then we'll do nymphs and villas. So for the Valkyries, what is an everyday energy that has to do with something that you may need to be brave, courageous, battle for, be a bit of a warrior for in some way? Strength. It's just about strength in general. And this, that's interesting, that's showing up like a flower coming in barren land. There's definitely something here about nature and about growth, I would say, even if they are talking about different scenarios. But this is going to be a scenario in your life that requires strength, but I think it's also the nature of your strength, and that's where there's a connection between the two. So let's see with nymphs, because nymphs feel like connection with the environment in a more day-to-day level. This feels a little bit more ephemeral and more spiritual, but also fiercely protective. So let's see what nymphs want to talk to you about. What everyday energy are we talking about there? Excessive Googling. Okay. Okay, so this could be, it'll be interesting to see what we actually get with the tarot, because this could either be, this could be about your nature, and this could be about excessively trying to sort of like analyze yourself rather than live. That's one thing that like comes to me as a message, putting those together. The other might be sitting behind a keyboard, being a keyboard warrior rather than being out in the world. But there's something here. It's overdoing the research rather than the action in some way. So we'll have a look at what area of life and what we have with tarot with that. And then with Villas, which is the very spiritual but fiercely protective energy around the environment. Squad goals. Okay, so this is about who do you connect with and what is a joint mission. There may be a connection between this. This might be that you're too much in your own mind and individual, and this is about finding others that then helps you have the strength. But we will see whether or not it looks with tarot like we're talking about similar things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, for each of them, put down a row of tarot cards to get a little bit more idea about the message that each of these are sending. Then once I've done that, we'll get 3 more cards for each of them for what remains hidden that they want you to consider beyond that. So firstly, around the Valkyries, around where you need to have strength, what is the message to you? Pile 1. 5 of Wands reversed, Page of Swords, Wheel of Fortune reversed, Ace of Wands, 6 of Cups. Okay. Firstly, it's saying this is not a battle. I know that because the 5 of Wands is reversed. So we're not really looking at the Valkyries around strength to be in battle. It may be, in fact, that a battle is over. It also suggests that whatever this thing was that you were battling or protecting, it was relatively minor conflict, but you've been able to get past the battle, and now you're in a communication phase. So the thing that the Valkyries want you to think about is understanding the best timing for communication. Because, and also how you reconcile the new with the past in some way. Because this is a new energy. So this is communicating a new energy after a battle or a conflict. But there is some need to also consider, be compassionate to, because remember the Valkyries were compassionate to the past, to what you have come from as part of what you will be moving towards. And so there may in fact here be a strength to hold your tongue until the time is right and you understand the battle of that. I think they're talking about some situation where there has been conflict. It seems to have settled down. You feel like you're ready to move forward, but the Valkyries are trying to say to you, no, not yet. Just cool your jets a little bit and consider how to accommodate that which is still precious from the past in what you're creating in the future. Because otherwise you're going to kind of like ricochet back to the conflict. This is something that involves more than you. And one of the main strengths that you can have is understanding all the perspectives. You're probably the driving force for something new, like the new flower bursting through there. And you may feel time is absolutely right, but they're saying no, just slow it down a bit because there is actually a compromise necessary here. So there is something here where you are meant to wait and compromise. That will be the strongest thing you can do rather than battle and rather than push forward. Okay, so then let's look at the nymph area here where there's excessive Googling. And so it just makes me feel like there's either too much self-analysis and not enough action, or there is a kind of a sense of being too separate from others. So let's just get an idea about what the nymphs are trying to say to you. Because I do think these might be kind of connected because I feel like this is saying there's more than you to take into account. And then we have a message here about, how to do that. But we'll see. We'll see how different it looks. The Lovers, The Knight of Cups. Oh, okay. This is talking about something different. Knight of Wands. Eight of Pentacles. Okay. I actually think this is about some sort of like compromising. It could be in a career. It could be sort of socially, politically, with your friends, with your family. But there is something where you are ready to move forward and do something new and you're feeling courageous and ready to do it. But it's just saying go a little bit slower. You don't want to blow apart the past and the connections you have from the past. You need to find a compromise. This is talking about love. So if we have, I mean, this is, what is your nature? And that's why I probably felt the water, the emotional stuff. But we have Google. It either might be saying that your way of looking for love might be things like, using sort of apps and so forth, and it's not actually giving you what you want. Or you may be isolating yourself too much and Googling and researching and thinking about love and so forth as opposed to going out and doing it. Because this is saying that a romantic offer is coming. A romantic and very passionate offer is coming. But you have to give it the space and the skill to do it. It feels like it's saying that you've removed yourself a little bit and made it all very much online. But there is an energy that wants to come through in the real world. So in some way, and I think for most of you, this is romantic. If it's not, then it's a very close friendship that has a sort of sense of, I want to see you more. Don't isolate yourself. Like, why do we only ever text? Like, where are you? How can I reconnect? I'm getting a very strong hit for some, and this is very specific, so it's only going to be for some, that some of you may have actually withdrawn from love and all those sort of things because you're studying or you're working on skills or you're very focused on work in some way. But this is saying, and if it's saying there's an energy coming through, and it's kind of like, don't sort of be looking at your phone when the love or the deep connection could be coming up, because otherwise you might miss it. And then let's have a look at the third one, which is around the villas, which is where you are meant to be connecting with others to protect something, I feel. So what is that about? Six of Swords reversed. Four of Cups. Emperor. Yeah, this is more likely to be around work or power in some way. King of Cups. Seven of Swords reversed. Now, I find it really interesting. We've got the Emperor and the King of Cups here, given that we are talking about goddess energy. I feel like this is talking to people where there is a team. It feels to me like the female energy around work or around some sort of social or political issue or whatever it is, something where there is power and kind of decision-making involved. It's banding together to bring, I think, the feminine perspective to something. To break through a block, it feels like breaking through a block that is very patriarchal, very traditional, very old school. And you are clever enough and realistic enough to be able to find the way through in this, because you have this sort of spiritual connection. So you actually see something better than this rather stuck, what feels like patriarchal energy. So it could be playing out in a very male-dominated workplace, and you've got a different way of doing things, which is necessary to move something forward. Or it could be that it's some sort of social or, say, political cause or whatever that is about protecting female interests and female group activity and that kind of thing. But the reason that you can do this is you're connected spiritually, and it's very clear, like you're very clear in a way, whereas the kind of old school way of doing things, and this is the way we do things around here, is actually really stuck. So I think this is asking you to break through something where a system or a power base needs to shift, and you really do have the spiritual connection to do that, but you've got to find your people, because at the moment it's blocked by some other squad or some other team. Okay, so if those are the three things, we're looking at something, and the first and the last could be connected, because we are looking at like hold your horses and don't push forward with something new till the time is right, and that might be also until you find your people. So for some of you, those first two could be connected, but I do think the third is like, don't be so focused either on work or on individual pursuits that you miss out on love. It's basically the message. I think, three cards for each of them now for what remains hidden. So when we look at the Valkyrie, when we look at This thing where it's just saying, just wait. The timing is coming, but it's not quite here yet. And you do need to have a compromise. That is the strongest position. What is hidden at this point? 3 of Wands, 8 of Wands, 4 of Swords. Okay. So I think that that's basically saying, I just want to have this so that you can still see a bit of the Valkyrie. I think that is basically saying that there is more in common in this situation than you'd think. Whatever the battle was might make you think that there isn't, but there actually is. And once that is spoken and brought out, then you'll be able to move forward with much more speed because there is actually a common view. So whether that connects with this and will make this issue easier, or whether it's some other aspect in your life, there is more in common than you think. So it pays to have the conversation about that and get everybody on board. Okay, so then what is hidden still around the potential missing out on the love life and the passion because you're too busy either researching it or working or studying or whatever it might be? What is hidden around that? Ace of Cups reverse. You haven't met this person, or what you want around love you haven't really focused on for a while. Yeah, you've put it to the side and you need to free that energy. It's just a balance thing. It's almost, the odd thing is, instead of being in love and enjoying it and being in the world, it's almost like you're obsessively caught up in the concept of it or in whatever it is that you're doing online. So it's like this is meant to free you. And then in terms of Velas, in terms of whatever this is, finding your team to shift an old and outdated way of doing things, we have justice. Fair and justice is on your side. 3 of Swords. Certain things have to leave, or some sort of pain has to be addressed. Knight of Pentacles reversed. And it's not, whatever this is, I feel as though what it's saying is that this is sort of something that you're meant to help shift through, because you are the person that can do that, and you can find the other people that can help with that. It is on the side of the angels. It is a just thing, but it's not something that you will stay in forever. So this feels like coming in and being a problem solver and a mover and a shaker, and then you move on. That's part of probably who you are. And once you do this, you'll understand that's part of who you are. So you kind of bring things into balance and then you move on. So it's sort of like, have your connections, but understand that they're not sort of connections that your squad is going to be there for a period and then it's going to break up because you're going to move on, they're going to move on. And you just have to understand that's part of the pattern. Okay, so for each of them now, we're also going to look at it very spiritually. So we're going to start firstly with a card from the Path of the Illuminated Soul for what is the soul energy around each message. Then we're going to have a look at what spiritual archetype is in play and what astrology is in play. So just to give us the very spiritual side of this, because this is more like pragmatic. So around the Valkyries, around the finding of the common vision, I think, after conflict, and having the bravery, courage and compassion to do that. The spiritual energy of that. Okay, you have to deal with where things are not what they seem. Beware the gifts that you give or receive. Appreciation is key. Mislead. It would be very easy to mislead yourself or others if you don't wait. That's why it's saying to wait. Things are not what they seem right now. There's more in common. But if you push through right now, then you may lead people in the wrong direction, or you could misunderstand what's going on. So that's why spiritually you're being asked to be aware that things are not quite what they seem. What about for the nymph, around finding love, not putting it on hold any longer? Okay, deception, the snake in the grass, the hidden threat disguised in the grass, a deadly precise strike. I think there's something about the way you're either the balance in your life, like you might be deceiving yourself actually about, if I focus on this particular way to find people, it's where I'm going to find it. Or it could be that if you're constantly doing it through the apps, you're going to only find deception. And if you actually go out and meet people in some other way, you'll find the right people. Or it could be that this is to bring you the gnosis, because snakes can also be knowledge to break through the deception, which is that, the focus that you have at the moment and putting love to the side. It's not, if that's a message that you've got from somewhere, it's not the right message spiritually for you. And then when we talk about Villa, so we're talking about whatever this short-term alliance energy, I think, that you're meant to create and then move on. The spiritual energy of that is inward the silent day. In stillness of night, composure gives insight. Go within to find light. Yeah, go within. This is a very spiritual thing. She feels more spirit. I mean, they're all spirits, but she feels more spiritually oriented around the environment or the situation or the power structure, whereas this feels much more personal, and that made sense because this is much more personal. So within you will find the light that you need and the answers that you need. So what spiritual archetypes might you represent? So around getting the timing right and not fooling yourself or anybody else fooling you, so you find the compromise, the spiritual archetype to enact. The mountain guide, strength, perseverance, and resilience. This is why it's talking about strength. It's going to take a little bit of time to do this, and you are meant to guide others, but the mountain guide is not necessarily telling people this is the only way. It would be probably saying this is the safe way. These are the boundaries that we need to deal with. But, the purpose of the going up the mountain has got to be something that everybody mutually agrees with. The spiritual archetype around finding love, I think, is what the second message is about. The lunar dancer, channeling lunar energy and power. Yeah, like the female energy, the heartfelt energy, the gentle energy, the emotional energy. Get out there and dance. Get out there and dance. Don't just sit behind a keyboard. And for the short-term team formation and then moving on, like that kind of energy, your spiritual quest being to come and problem solve and break through stagnant sort of situations, the spiritual archetype for that, the Hellraiser, there you go. So yeah, maybe you're going to cause a little bit of chaos. Maybe it's rebellion. And you can probably enjoy that, and you can find the others that do it. You do have to break through this, and you are going to be realistic, but it is probably a little bit chaotic. But like, you come in, you do that, you shake things up, you move on. So there's something, I think, almost social, political, environmental, work-wise there. There's something here that could be in any aspect of your life, but it's understanding a sense of being a guide, but not an authority, so to speak, like only on as I say, the boundaries. And there's something here about lightening up and having fun and finding love. So let's just get a couple of astrology energies around each as well too. So around the mountain guide, being the mountain guide, finding the right timing and the right way to find the common purpose, to climb the common mountain. We firstly have Saturn in the fifth house, becoming your own inner authority. So yeah, you need to know that you're sure about what you're doing. And Saturn also slows us down and gives us patience. And we also have Pluto in the second house, focused on self-sufficiency. Okay, I think this might be connecting a bit over here. I think this is the thing. You are meant to slow down a bit. You are very self-sufficient. You could go up the mountain on your own, but there is something here where a better outcome will come if you wait. You can find what is common, and you'll have a group of people to go up there. So if I was going to say there's one common thread to all of this, it's actually you connecting more with others. Yeah, because you are very strong, very spiritual, very protective, but that can be a bit lonely. So then what's the astrology energy around the nymphs, around the lunar dancer? We have Uranus in the 12th house, works from behind the scenes. Okay, so yeah, I think you are a bit behind the scenes. But Uranus wants to shake that up. I think it's trying to say to you, don't stay behind the scenes all the time. I think you have that tendency to do that, but it's making you miss out on something. We also have Uranus again. So this is calling for change in the first house, seeking personal liberation. Yeah, see, she looks like she's dancing again. I feel like it's saying just get out and dance or have fun. Have fun, pile one. Okay, and then the Hellraiser, who over there, though I think this is not like having fun. I think this is like really causing a stir and shifting things that need to be shifted. So the energy around that, firstly, is Neptune in the sixth house, self-sacrificing service to others. So I think there is a kind of, you put the squad goals ahead of yourself in this, and you can be self-sacrificing. But I think the Neptune is a spiritual thing. You see there's a spiritual energy where you are here to help others. And we have Pluto in the fifth house, share your creativity. So sharing that, it could be your role might be to be creative and to stir things up and so forth. Others in the squad may have a different role. that's a way to do this without being too self-sacrificing. But there is sort of something, you've got a bigger picture issue that you deal with, Pile 1, and you're meant to find people, but they're going to be constellations of people that shift and change depending upon the issue. There is also here something about a area or a topic at the moment where you could go on your own, but if you push through and do that, then something's going to be lost in translation because others will follow you and be with you. And here it's like, just have fun. Okay, so we've explored the messages. Let's see what the Divine Masculine wants to say. So we're going to just close out with a God or a Titan, just for a viewpoint from that, because this is a very feminine-oriented reading, as I said. So what's the masculine view on what this group of female energies have said to you? Wow, we have Poseidon, flow. Okay. So Poseidon is, of course, the god of water, the god of also potentially storms, the god of the sea. I think very strongly connects with that energy, because I feel like the nymph energy feels very water-like to me, even though I understand that nymphs are across all of the environment. I just feel a very water-like energy there. I think this is just saying to go with the flow is to connect with others. You have a lot of power. I think Poseidon is saying that. You have a lot of power, a lot of personal power. And in any of these things, you could go alone and you could be very powerful and very transformative. But going with the flow emotionally is also connecting with others and sharing power. And I think that's what this message is overall. But there are 3 different aspects of it. But if you wait for the right time, you'll find people who have the same view as you. And so there's a collective. If you actually get out and enjoy yourself a bit and go with the flow, love is probably on the horizon. And if you really do have something you want to protect, that you feel very strongly around justice and politics and so forth, then go with the flow and draw in the constellations of support you need so that you don't have to do it on your own. So I hope that that resonates for you, Pile 1. I think you've got some important work to do, so I hope it's helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Lofn, who is a Norse goddess of things like forbidden love. Talks about spring, dawn, love, flourish. Certainly love in all its aspects, even if it isn't always what is agreed with by those around you, if it's complex, but it's something new, some sort of energy in that. You also have Chione, which is a Greek goddess, and she is also about love, often also about innocence, and she has great beauty. Such was her beauty, in fact, that she was hidden away in a kingdom of snow. So I think there's something here with them talking about you coming into your own beauty and your own love in whatever form it is for you. You don't have to be a woman coming to this reading, so it doesn't have to be female beauty. It could be male beauty, but there's something around that and owning that and not being hidden away. And then we have Rhiannon, which is a Celtic goddess, famously sort of connected with witch energy from the Fleetwood Mac song, but overall about, as it says, radiance, grace, nobility, enchantment, a kind of a more intense and passionate and powerful energy. So I feel like there is a connection here, though we will see, because it could be 3 different things that are being discussed, but I feel as though there is a rising of your beauty, your desirability, your love, your passion, either for a person or for something that represents you in some way. It's a new energy coming through. And I feel almost as though there's an awakening of something that was forbidden is actually its time has come. You have to almost unfreeze and come into the radiance of your own passion. That's what I feel that this is talking about. So I do think that they're connected. But one of the things that we're going to do before we use tarot is we're just going to get an everyday oracle for each of them, just to sort of see the everyday energy around this, because we're going to look at that and then we're going to have tarot to look at it on that sort of level. Then we'll have a look at the spiritual aspects, just to see if we are seeing a direct connection here, or whether there's different parts of your life. I do think there's an overarching thing here about claiming your own power, your own beauty, your own desirability, and going after what you love in one form or another. I think that is a common message, but it could be that it's 3 different aspects of life you're looking at it. So we started with Lofn, so let's have a look at the everyday energy around that. The existential crisis. Okay, yeah. And that's interesting because, as I say, there's almost like taboo love here. There's like, who are you really? What do you love? What do you want? And whether that's, in a romantic, sensual way, or whether it's in some other aspect of your life, now the spring energy is there. There is an awakening. You have to deal with that. It's core to who you are. So then with Chione, if you have your innocence and your beauty has been hidden away a bit, what aspect of life needs to almost unfreeze for this? Main character energy. Yeah, you have to become the main character. This is all about you, and you are very beautiful, very attractive, very desirable, all that kind of thing. You need to actually claim that. You haven't claimed it. You've been hidden away, just like she was hidden away. And some might have said to her it was for her own protection, but it meant she was hidden away and frozen. So you're meant to kind of now understand who you are and how important that is, so that you can go into the power with Rhiannon. So in what aspect of your everyday life is that coming out? Wow, promotion. Okay. So it could be at work. It could be at work, and it could be doing what you passionately want. Otherwise, it could be self-promotion in some way. These cards could be about, getting yourself out on social media or out in the world in some way, or out creatively. Or it could be promoting your value in terms of passion and in the game of love, whatever it might be. But this is you understanding maybe what you thought was forbidden or needed to be protected is in fact the power that is going to take you forward. I think that's what this message is talking about. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the tarot for 3 times, but 1 for each. We're going to get a bit more detail on the message that particular goddess or energy is bringing to you. Then we're also going to look at what they think is still hidden that you need to be aware of. So when we're talking about often about this existential crisis, the thing about what you may have felt, you couldn't do, or you couldn't love, or whatever it is that's really being triggered now, as you're starting to understand you have the power and the energy to do something. How is that playing out? What is Loffin's message to you? High Priestess, the Hierophant. Oh, wow. The World reversed. This is powerful, all right. 9 of Pentacles, Ace of Cups. Okay. For most of you, this is about love, something that it matters to your heart anyway. I mean, it doesn't have to be romantic love. It could be any type of sort of connection, or it could be about like what you would really love in yourself, self-love, self-belief, and following maybe the Holy Grail. But it's big. You definitely are meant to be independent. This is about independence from anybody else's viewpoints. Even if they were meant to be protective, they've actually stopped you from pursuing what you want. So they're saying it's time to, you're established enough in one way or another to be able to do this. So if it's literally like about a promotion or something, you're far enough up the ladder that you can now be more independent and go after what you want. If you have just graduated from university or something like that, you're ready to go out and get a job and leave home and be free from what your family might think. It just depends on where you are in your life, but you're ready. And like often is saying, you have the material support to do this. You're meant to follow what you want now. There is something really unfinished, something that you have put aside. And certainly if you've put love aside, it's time not to do that anymore. But there is also something very, very spiritual about this, because we have the High Priestess and the Hierophant. And what I'm feeling there is almost opposites. I'm feeling like the High Priestess is you. You have the mysteries, particularly when we connect into this is one of the most powerful female spiritual energies in the tarot. And it is about the mysteries and about the truth and often what is hidden. The Hierophant feels more masculine, or at least more traditional. So I think this is you now understanding you have unfinished business about what is true to you that was maybe unfinished because of the restrictions of what was expected of you. So this is now you're ready to go after what you want now, whether it's in love, whether it's spiritually, whatever it is. You can't stick with the traditional anymore, because you will never finish what you were brought here to do if you do that, and you'll never be truly independent. So this is understanding you're a High Priestess. That which felt taboo or hidden away on that level was hidden for a reason, because it's like you were worthy of it, and ready and powerful enough to deal with it. But you weren't conventional. You're not conventional. That's one of the things that's for sure. Okay. All that energy, though, seems to have been hidden away a bit, and you haven't felt like you could be the main character. You haven't felt like you could actually make this about you and what you want, whether that's family or work or friendship or even lovers, like making themselves central. It's time for you to make yourself central. So let's see what the message is from Chion, or Chione, however that's pronounced. Four of Pentacles, Three of Cups, Five of Swords, King of Wands reversed, Chariot. Okay, yeah. There is going to be cause for celebration if you take this advice, but this is saying something else as well, I've got to say. I think this is saying that, firstly, don't limit yourself just to feel safe and secure. I feel for some of you, with the Three of Cups here and the Five of Swords, you have frenemies. You have people around you who want to limit you because that suits them, and you're going to need to move away from that. So you have to be prepared, if you're going to take on your main character energy and that kind of thing, not to worry about, gossip or the views of others, or even live your life by committee. That felt safe, but you're meant to move away from that. It has suppressed you. And I feel as though, even with the King of Wands, because, the father of this goddess, put her in the snow to protect her, but it's not the right use of power. So the people around you and any other sort of influence, which could also be, fathers, bosses or whatever, they may have all sorts of good reasons, they think, for this, but it's not the right use of power, and or you're around narcissistic people. And that's one of the reasons why you can't do that. So you need to move away from that. Move away from people who are trying to keep you small. Move away from people whose egos are stopping you from doing what you want. Then you will move forward. But at the moment you're stuck, and you're kind of stuck because people have done a bit of a number on you and told you, you're being selfish if you actually try and pursue your own goals. And it's possible also that there's for some of you, a lot of competition from others for somebody to love. And they're going to always try and limit you so that you're not a rival. So knowing that the strength of your beauty and the fact that you could be the main character and whatever it is helps you to break away from that, because it's keeping you small. You're meant to move forward. Okay, and then Rhiannon, powerful, beautiful, dynamic Rhiannon. She wants you to move to promotion in whatever that is, to move forward, to move upwards. So what is her message to you, pile 2? Sun reverse. Yeah, you're hiding your light, and you're not being recognized yet. And therefore you're not happy. And a lot of this came from family or those who pretended to be friends. Yeah, you can't hear the call. Wow, Tower, and it's step by step. Okay. The fact that we've got all reversed there, she's saying to you, you're ready to turn all that around, but you've got to do this stuff first. So there's an order to this. Understanding the existential crisis, perceiving clearly what impact others have had on you, then you can release this energy, and then you can get what you're meant to have, whether it's love or a promotion or whatever it is. Because right now, because of those energies, feeling who you were was taboo in some way, feeling that you had to keep yourself small, you're not following your life path or following your call. You've submerged it. And I think a lot of it has come from family. But you're not going to be recognized while you do that. You can't be this beautiful, bright Rhiannon. You can't be promoted while you are still in that mindset. But she's saying you don't have to destroy everything around you. You don't have to lose your friendships or anything like that. You just take this step by step, but claim what is yours and claim who you are. And you can do it step by step. Because in a way, what has limited you has been done step by step too. So you can actually use the same energy and the same pacing to free it. So let's see what is still hidden that they also want to say to you. So what does Loffen want to say about your existential crisis? It's still a bit hidden. Like, these are energies you probably could relate to right now. So what is still a little bit hidden from Loffen's perspective? Seven of Wands reversed. King of Cups. Okay. One of the things that is holding you back, she wants you to think about, one of the things that makes you not feel brave enough to sort of break out and show anything that's taboo or to be the main character, is you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to upset anybody. You've been kind of trained to be the peacekeeper, I think. This happens actually in families where there are narcissistic tendencies. You probably would have had someone say to you at some point, think of others. And if you actually look at the dynamic, it's probably because they aren't going to think about you. It's constantly you're meant to think of others. So I often want you to think about whether or not your compassion and your kindness and your wish for harmony is stopping you being brave. What about Chione? What else is a bit hidden about how people are keeping you small? Four of Wands, Six of Pentacles. Okay, so there's a couple of messages. It depends on who's come to this reading. For some of you, it's doubling down that this is a family thing. And like what you were given, how you were recognized or not, it always had strings attached, kind of literally, like somebody was always the judge, and it was someone like within your family, and their view was implacable. You need to understand it's not valid if that's the case. Otherwise, this is saying that a lot of this, because we've got the promotion over here, is maybe in a workplace. And in that case, it's saying that once you actually step forward, then this can actually work for you. There would be someone who will see you and promote you. You will get a better contract, but you have to push yourself forward to do it. So it sort of depends on, do you feel the main message here for you is on broader than, say, work, and it has to do with you breaking out of programming from when you were young and in your family, in which case this understanding this dynamic is what you have to do to break free. If it's more you think in the workplace, then this is suggesting that once you actually step into main character energy, you will find the support that you need. Let's see what Rhiannon wants to say that she thinks is still a bit hidden. Seven of Cups reversed. Nine of Wands reversed. Hermit reversed. Okay. She's saying that if you are worried that people are going to be prickly, you're not wrong about that. That's why she's saying you don't have to like burst through with the tower and sort of Uranian energy and blow everything up. Because she says, look, yeah, it's right. Like you stepping into main character energy, you getting promoted, whatever it is, it's going to like stir the pot a bit with people. But that is no reason not to do it. You just need to be out and proud about what you're doing. She's also saying that the worst thing you could do in this situation is to try and do it behind the scenes. You need to be clear that so if it's in a workplace, you need to be clear that you are interested in moving up the ladder. So if you've been kind of like denying that and hoping somebody behind the scenes would sort of like recognize you, not only is that not likely to happen, but if it did happen, people would think something illegitimate happened. But if you are out and proud about who you are and what you have to offer, then that's a very realistic way to deal with what could be jealousy, because there's something like that going on with you. And it's the same thing with, if this is about love or whatever, it's like pretending that you're not interested in anyone and just hoping to be chosen. If you are, somebody's going to think you did something, kind of to cruel their chances or whatever if there's competition. Whereas if you say, yeah, I'm interested in this person, like may the, like all's fair in love and war or whatever, then it's very hard for them to actually have an issue with you that's occurred. Okay, so if we look at that, it's an energy for you to become the main character, to go after what people have told you maybe shouldn't be able to go after, and to stand in your power and claim it, if that's what we're talking about. Let's look at it in a number of ways spiritually. So firstly, we're going to get a card for each of them from the Path of the Illuminated Soul to see what's some of the spiritual dynamic around this for you, Pile 2. So often again, the first thing about the taboo, the stepping in, the courage to be who you really are rather than worrying about upsetting the apple cart. Dreamscapes, the wishing stones. For your dreams are as landscapes of your desires. You can manifest this. Start to dream. Stop limiting yourself. And stop letting other people limit you. What's the spiritual energy around that? Seasons, the magnolia tree. All the seasons come and all the seasons go. In that time you grow. So, yeah, you can't stay in snow forever. Like if you think about it, you can't be in winter forever. Claim the seasons. There might be times when you can be more quiet and not have to be the main character. But right now, you're meant to be going towards spring, I think. Look at this. This is because that was that energy as well. The new beginnings. You can't stay in winter spiritually. And then with Rhiannon, with all that fiery energy around her, the spiritual message is calling the two flames. The flames that dance throughout the night are called to unite. So I think, I mean, the first sense around this was it was around love. Certainly for some of you, this is about claiming love, and where others might not think it's right or others are competing, and you are meant to actually have that love if that's the case. Otherwise, I think this is going to show that once you actually start to step into who you truly are, you're going to find at least one very loyal, caring companion. Like, you will have the support that you need to have. Let's see what spiritual archetypes you could actually manifest. So with dreamscapes, with starting to believe what you thought was denied you can actually come to you, the spiritual archetype, the keeper of secrets, hidden knowledge and mysteries. So you have a power here, you have an energy to do it. So this is meant to let you know you can do it, but you don't have to tell everybody all the things about it. If it is a little bit taboo, or it is sort of something that only can be brought out incrementally, that's fine. You can be a keeper of secrets, but still move towards what you want. Not making yourself small. What spiritual archetype will help you there? The mountain guide. So you can climb that mountain. You do need strength and perseverance. And look, she's coming out of snow. She's in snow here. Instead of staying stuck, it's like, think about the mountain to climb. The mountain gets you closer to the sun. Gets you closer to the sun. So there is an energy here about claiming your destination and being the guide, being the leader of this, not just fitting in. And what is the spiritual archetype around Rhiannon? All that fiery, passionate energy and making the changes that are necessary. The warrior, yeah, that's where, when it comes to actually going after what you want, don't let others hold you back. Even if it's step by step, bravery, strength and courage, you move towards, that promotion, that love, whatever it is, because it's meant to be yours. Okay, let's also get you some astrology for each. So the astrological energy around Loffen, this sort of springtime new beginning, and doing what you want, even if it is a bit of a secret, or needs to be a bit secret, or it's a bit taboo. Firstly, we have Pluto in the 9th house, deep desire to know the source of our being. So this is very core to you. This is very core to what you believe, and it may change some of your beliefs about life. Also, Pluto in the 9th house. That's like, the underworld being in a house of spirituality for you. It's like Hades being in it. It's like, this is potentially taboo, in some way, but it is potentially heretical. But nevertheless, this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to be, as I said, the high priestess. And we have Mercury in the 5th house, vocally creative. So being able to speak your truth in some way. Maybe you keep the secrets you need until it's ready, but really being able to voice who you are and what you believe and what you want more. The energy around the mountain guide, around coming out of the snow, around not being small anymore. Firstly, we have Mercury in the 2nd house, supreme entrepreneur. There you go. You're meant to really create something special. Don't be small. Don't think small. Entrepreneurs never think small. And we have South Node in the 7th house in Libra, be original. Yeah, you move towards your originality. South Node in Libra, that is very strong emphasis that you are meant to move away from, of, like social harmony and what do others want or whatever. You're now meant to move towards, effectively, the North Node in the 1st house. So that is about being original. So there is something that only you can do. You can't keep yourself small. And then with the warrior energy, we have Mars in the 3rd house, high strung. Okay, Mars in the 3rd house, this is a communication thing. So if you have a little bit of fun with this, I think you might be dealing with high strung energy around you. So how you deal with that creatively, being original, I think those things connect together. But it is being prepared to have the battle vocally if you need to. And we have Sun in the 10th house, leadership. Yeah, because you're meant to be promoted, you're meant to lead, or you're meant to connect with another powerful person if this is about love. Okay, so to finish off, what I thought I would do is get a card from a Gods and Titans deck, because we've been very female-centric here with the goddesses. So just sort of see what divine masculine energy is connected to these messages and what that would say to you as well. Pile 2. So you have Achilles, confidence. Okay, yeah, going forward, Achilles was a great warrior. Achilles was, one of the best warriors. Of course, there's an Achilles heel. So there is an important thing to know about what is your Achilles heel. And I think it might be partly saying your Achilles heel to date has been that you were very socially oriented. You didn't really want to hurt anybody. You're very kind and you allowed others to always take center stage. So that's your Achilles heel because you default to that. If you protect yourself from that, so you don't allow that to be anymore, then you have all the strength, ability, dexterity, and so forth to claim what you want. So I think that's the message. It's saying have the confidence that comes also from knowing where you had the Achilles heel before and addressing that so you move forward with confidence. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 2. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the one with Leshy, which of the three cards I thought looked the most sort of mysterious given the way that it's depicted. Leshy are actually nature spirits from Slavic mythology. And they are generally, they can be friendly, they can also be trickster energy. So I think what's interesting here is you've got like the mystery of almost going into the forest and trying to find your way. So I think there is a mystery to solve for you in the messages here. It's about your next steps, the path that you follow. Is it the right one to be on? All of that kind of thing. Because when we look at Skadi over here, this is actually a Norse goddess, and she's about winter, and she's about resilience and the hunt and strength. So there's a kind of a sense of there's a pathway that could be difficult, and you will need resilience if you go on it, but you may decide to go on it because there might be something that you really want to achieve with the hunt. But it is potentially a more difficult path, so she may help you on that one. On the other hand, you have the Greek Nereids, which are water nymphs and forest nymphs, and they're about trust, courage, peace, progression. They're about finding the path. So I think there is actually a very strong connection between these. Like, again, even with the connection, it might be different aspects of your life that you have the question about what to do, the outcome or whatever, or a path that is difficult, but nevertheless you are pursuing something, and also where you're in flow. But I think that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, how we're going to look at this, first of all, we're starting out on the everyday or the 3D. So the first way we're going to do is get an everyday oracle card for each to get a bit of an idea how this is playing out in your life at the moment and what messages they're bringing you. Then from each of them, we're going to ask for a little bit more about what their message is and then what remains hidden. Then we'll have a look at it through a number of spiritual aspects as well. So firstly with Leshy, like I feel this is like being in the forest, trying to find your path and hoping that you're going to get good guidance, but you could also get a bit of trickster energy as well. What would the Leshy, what area of your life are the Leshy potentially going to have a message for you? The storm. Okay, there's something big. And this is kind of what I thought, because I did feel this one looked, of all of them, like the most tumultuous. So there is some sort of tumultuous energy for you, the way you are looking for good guidance, but you're worried that you might get a trickster energy. Now, what I do feel, because I do think this is going to be, benign messages, even if there's a trickster energy, it's meant to send you in one or either of these directions because it's the right thing to do. So it's almost as though there's a way to just go with the flow of the energy and sort of come out the other side. But if you are meant to be pursuing something and hunting it down, and it might be that the different paths for different things, then it's sending you where you will build the resilience. But there's something like a tower energy around this, kind of like where things are not clear, where things are dark, where things are stormy. So there's some energy to deal with what might be a crisis or an emotional overwhelm or something in your life at the moment. When we look at the Skadi and we go into winter and we go into the hunt and the resilience, what area of life might that be the direction the Leshy sends you in? The podcast. Okay, this is about how you communicate with others. So it doesn't necessarily mean you literally have to do a podcast, but this is a pursuit of an outcome, whether it's the one thing you're looking at or whether it's a number of things, where you communicating with the world is what, in one form or another, is important. And it may not be easy, and it may be because you're in pursuit of something and you need to be resilient. So speaking as someone who does things on YouTube, you do actually have to be a bit resilient because it can take a lot of time to get, to things or to get to people. Not everybody's going to understand what you're doing, all that kind of thing. So maybe in how you communicate with the world and the things that you want to communicate and to whom you want to communicate, it may be the more tricky pursuing things very deliberately, but needing to have the resilience. What about in flow, when you're in flow with nereids? Virtual queuing. Okay, all right. This may be to give you patience, actually, whether it's literally about a situation or whether it's saying that we really are talking about one situation. We'll get a sense of this with tarot, whether it's the one thing, but this could be the one thing where there's something very significant and you're going to have to communicate and debate and get your views out there, and it's going to be, you need to be resilient, and sometimes you just need to go with the flow because the communication's not going to work. So it's like, I'm getting stuff out there and then I get Mercury retrograde and I'm just not able to get answers, or I'm not able to communicate. So there's something about communication. There's something about getting answers. And it may also be the trickster energy here. Like sometimes, although it's tough, it's the right message. And sometimes you just feel like you're talking to an AI bot. But that's the kind of energy we're looking at. So let's get a little bit more information with tarot. So for each of them, one at a time, we're going to get what is the actual message they're trying to say. It will help us work out if it's the same thing or aspects of the same thing. Then we're also going to ask them what is hidden beyond the message that they're saying at the moment that they want you to consider. So going into the forest, into the storm, dealing with that, looking for the Leshy to, I couldn't remember their name for a second there, to provide you guidance, hopefully benign, hopefully in the right direction, but possibly trickster. What are they? And their message might be a trickster energy too. So we'll just see what we get. What is their message to you right now about dealing with whatever storm is going on in your life? Fool reversed, Queen of Wands, Devil reversed, Eight of Wands, Four of Swords reversed. Okay. They're pointing you to this, actually. So I do think that there is a connection at least between that, and that just might be the frustration as you're trying to kind of like do these two messages. This is like to help you deal with when there's blips on the road, I think. They're saying that you've got this. They're saying that this is not something new. Whatever this storm is, you've dealt with it in one form or another before, probably within this life, so it's quite conscious, but possibly in a past life. But either way, this is not anything really new, and you've got this. You are self-actualized. You're able to deal with it. This is meant to liberate you in some way and free you in some way to move quicker, but you're going to have to communicate with people about it. This is not sort of something that you can just go as an internal spiritual journey. This is something that is meant to bring you out into the world. So you are meant to speak in the world in some way. Like that doesn't mean necessarily on YouTube or a podcast to, the entire international audience that you could bring in. It could be within a work group. It could be within a friendship group. It could be within a family. But there's definitely that because that's necessary for liberation. This is about liberation, but it's saying you've got it. Like don't worry about the storm. Think about your message. That's what to focus on. And if there's resilience there, you're actually you're acting, because it's saying move, act, do something. No, be confident. Don't feel like, I just got to hide away. That would be the worst thing you could do. Now, worst case scenario, if that's a trickster energy, they want you to sort of jump in and say something before it's ready. But I feel like the Nereids over here would almost be protecting you by, if there was something that was precipitous that you would say, it's almost like it's ramped down so that it can't happen. So I think you are protected, even if that's trickster. Though I don't really feel like it's trickster, to be honest. So then when we're looking at Skadi, we're looking at you having the resilience to get your message out there. What is she talking to you about? King of Cups reversed, Queen of Pentacles, Five of Cups reversed, Five of Pentacles reversed, Ace of Pentacles. Okay. I feel like many of you may have had some sort of material or career or something like that setback. There's some healing around what you would want to commit to and what you would put your resilience into. You've gone quite a long way in doing it, she's saying, and you are meant to find your people, but you haven't started yet. She says you just have to start. Like they're like the the Leshy is saying, come out of the cupboard and talk to people. And the Ace of Pentacles, like, bring this into being. Just do it. Just start. You can plan and plan and plan and plan, but you really won't get anywhere until you start. You are meant to connect with the right people, and this is meant to heal something. But there is something that needs to be healed. Something was a setback, probably materially. Could be emotionally as well. Like you might have been committed to someone and they didn't reciprocate. But you've got to get out there if that's the case to bring in something that does have the potential. And then when we look at Nereids, which is helping you be patient when you get stuck in the virtual queue, when everything slows down, what do they want to say to you to help you with that? Hermit, World, Two of Cups reversed, Hanged Man reversed, Page of Pentacles. Yeah, this is saying what I felt that was saying. I think that's actually a protection. Probably will feel as frustrating as hell, but I feel like it's actually a protection. This looks to me like the Nereids are saying, we're here to let you know that when there would be dissension in the world by what you're saying, we're going to kind of like slow that down. We're going to hang it up. We're going to like make it stop the message getting out there so that what you are trying to grow is protected. So there's probably something around this, whether it's a message that you have is, very controversial or polarizing, or, or that the ideas that you have need time to grow and they need like only expanding the audience as it's ready. But there's a protective energy. I really think they're saying we're protecting you. It will feel like we're blocking you, but we're protecting you. This one is saying you've just got to build the strength to get out there. But yeah, over here, my friends over here will protect you when it's necessary. And like, you've just got to face it head on and just commit to it. So what do each want to say is a little bit hidden still. So what are the Leshies saying about the storm, about the big shift that you're going to make in expressing yourself in some way? What is still hidden? Six of Wands reversed, Six of Pentacles, Justice. Okay, so what's still hidden is that at the moment, this might be being triggered by the fact that you're not being recognised for promotions or moving forward in some sort of work situation. That's a possibility. Or it may be that right now you're not seen. When you're seen, you're going to find patrons, you're going to find support, you're going to find contracts. So certainly if you were wanting to start a podcast, while you're not doing it, nothing's happening. When you do it and people start to know who you are, it looks like it would grow very well and you would get, sponsorship and patronage. That's just if it's literally a podcast, but it's to give you an idea. It's saying that until you're seen and recognised, you can't move forward and get the support that you need. So that's why this is important. So then what do the Skadi say in terms of getting your message out there is still hidden? Knight of Cups, Five of Wands reversed, the Lovers. Okay, for some of you, this could bring love in, and love that is more aligned to you. So if any of you, this is like the storm of relationships, and like, sometimes you feel like they're sort of like overwhelming, and sometimes they feel like you need resilience, and sometimes you feel like you're sort of stuck on ghosted or something like that. Then this is saying that the way you get past that is being more open, expressing yourself more. That way you're going to find the connections that are true of heart and are more connected to you. If it's around getting out into the world, again, you won't have as much pushback if you come from the heart and you think about the audience. So it just depends on what this is talking to you about. And then what is still hidden from the Nereids' protection of you, I think, that will feel like frustration but will actually be protection. What is still hidden there? The Hierophant reversed, the Two of Pentacles, Death reversed. Okay, they're saying you will think all whatever your theories are, a theory of manifestation, a theory of karma, a theory that comes from spirituality, a theory that just comes from what you think the way the world is, you're going to think sometimes that it's working against you and it's just not doing what you thought it was going to do. But the Nereids are saying, actually, no, it's actually holding off the choice till you've got all the information to make the choice. So it's not that your thing is wrong. You've just got to understand how this energy and this protection works within what you're thinking about. And if it's around love, it could be saying that you're being held off from choices that are not going to spiritually connect with you, so that you find the ones that you can actually really do something with. So either way, it's a protective influence. Okay, so let's look at it spiritually. So I'm going to start with the path of the illuminated soul and just see the spiritual energy around each of these messages. So the spiritual energy around the Leshy, with their possibly trickster, but I think, probably, I think in this case, a little bit more helping you energy around whatever big storm you're shifting past to get to what you really want. Deception, the snake in the grass, the hidden threat, the disguise in the grass, a deadly precise strike. I think they're going to help you avoid the dangers of the forest and avoid self-deception and the deception of others. So I think they're going to help you, but there's probably something deceitful or something like that as an energy around you that's triggering this need to do something, speak up, take a different approach. So they're going to help you with that. But you do have to recognize that you are like you're in a forest and there could be a snake underfoot in the forest. What about the Skadi? What about getting your message out? The spiritual energy around that. Messages, the numbers. Do you see the numbers the universe is talking? What does it say? Keep a lookout for numerological things, therefore, but it also might be the numbers literally if you're in a podcast. What are the numbers? What messages are registering? What aren't? That kind of thing. It's something like that. Or, if it is about love, what's your numerology compared to the person you're interested in? There's messages coming to you as well as the messages you're meant to send out. And around, as I say, this protection that's going to feel like frustration. Inward, the silent day. In stillness of night, composure gives insight. Go within to find light. Yeah, when that happens, just kind of chill, meditate. Know that it's happening for you, not to you. Okay, let's see the spiritual archetypes that these messages are calling on you to embody. So around dealing with being in the forest, where there's potentially snakes in the grass, where there's a storm, where it's a little bit unclear, you're meant to be your own guide in a way, the spirit guide. And the connection to nature and animals. Know that there's something about that environment and the allegory we're talking about here with the forest. You're very connected to animals and spirit guides of the natural world. I would say, shamanic journeying, things like that could be really helpful for you when you're not sure. But you're meant to almost become your own guide or call the right natural guides to you. I think it's really interesting, her hair color and her hair color. There's something very, like you have a natural affinity to the sort of darkened forest and the stormy weather and all that kind of, you actually feel okay in that. You're clearer in that than a lot of people. And when we're looking at the messages you're meant to get and the messages you're meant to send out, the archetype there, the visionary, your vision. What's your vision? Insight, foresight, receiving visions, numbers, visions, all of that kind of thing. You're meant to get your vision out into the world and to trust that you're the visionary and that you've got it. As I say, you've got this. And what about the frustrations? What spiritual archetype to embody when you're dealing with the frustrations where the message isn't getting out or things are being slowed down or a myriad of things that happen in life when we are pursuing what we're meant to pursue? The guardian of light, guiding others out of the darkness. Keep thinking, go within that light energy. How would you come out of this? Instead of thinking I'm frustrated, think how would you help others if they were feeling stuck? And it's probably going to give you the guidance that you need because you're your own guide in many ways. It's not to say you don't have spirit guides, but you are very powerful energy like that yourself. So let's just get a little bit of astrology for each. So going back to the spirit guide, finding your way through the forest. We have Sun in the first house, image. Okay, so think about, and this connects with how you're communicating for love, for career, for being the visionary or whatever. What is the image that you want to show? I think part of your image here is dealing with those sort of things, being the guide, being able to deal with the storm in a way that other people can't. And Neptune in the first house as well, unsure of personal identity. Okay, this is the thing. You've got to know who you are. You really do have that access, but you're almost being forced into the storm, I think, to find out who you are because you're meant to take that message out. It's very first house energy around being in the forest. Yep. Actually, I want to recommend something to you if you haven't already done. I think you can actually look this up on YouTube and find it. There's a thing called the Jungian Walk in the Forest. It's actually a really good archetypal self-awareness thing. You can only ever do it once because then you know what it all means. But if you haven't already done that, I would suggest doing it because I think you might get some extra information that way. I'm sure I've seen it on YouTube, on and off. Okay, so then let's see with the visionary energy and getting your message out. Firstly, we have Mercury in the 11th house, unorthodox ideas. Yeah, you do think differently to other people. You're meant to get that out into the world. That's part of being a visionary. And we have Pluto in the 5th house, share your creativity. Yeah, you're meant to do it in a creative way. But you are unorthodox. You are breaking through unorthodox idea or orthodox ideas to something a little bit more visionary. And then, as I say, becoming your own guide and the guide of others when things get frustrating. We have Mercury in the 8th house, mysterious agenda. There is something a bit mysterious about this. It's like maybe understand there's also some mysterious forces around this for you. As I say, that things that feel frustrating are actually working for you. But putting a little bit of mystery into all of it, making it a little bit fun. And North Node in the 2nd house, find joy and simplicity. Okay, so yeah, when you get frustrated, go for the simple things. Yeah, like enjoy just life's, more simple pleasures because it's slowing down until it's time to move forward, and there's not much that you can do about it because it's actually trying to protect you. Okay, so pile 3, what we're going to finish up with is a God or Titan, because I just wanted to get a divine masculine energy to kind of balance out all the feminine energy we have in this reading. So this is just maybe something to bring it together or give that sort of perspective to the advice here. So for you, oh wow, Dionysus, ecstasy. Yeah, this is going back to this, enjoy life. Like you're meant to enjoy this. It's very Taurian, actually, I think, Dionysus. So this is all about finding the good life, I think. But enjoy all aspects of this because it's all part of, creating the vision for yourself, bringing that into being, maybe helping others and getting past what's boring. Like just have a bit of fun. So have a bit of fun sometimes, I think, is the message here. Doesn't all have to be serious. And like even the way that you present what you do, like put fun and entertainment and so forth into it in some way. Yeah, creative energy. But this is about enjoying who you are and enjoying life and helping other people enjoy their life. So don't be all work and no play, so to speak. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.